Hello everybody, hello beautiful planet, and this is Lana Elko with my live show, weekly live show, Intimacy with the World. And so today is very triggering and exciting topic. Of course it is powerful, all my topics are powerful, right? But this one is very, very triggering, right? And I'm sure many... Hi Violetta. I'm sure many people will be just attracted to this topic because it's kind of a taboo, right? Because it is, something so hidden and something so kind of distorted and not brought to the light enough, right? Thank you so much for your heart, Violetta. So this is an interactive show, right? If you feel, triggered, if you feel engaged, and if you feel like your emotions, your body responds to something that I'm sharing, please engage in the conversation. You can ask questions, you can express with emoji, right? You don't need to use words. Of course, you can reach out privately to me, but it is very powerful when we put our energy and show up this way in a more public way, so we can bring all this hidden stuff, this like oppressed and like hidden on the bottom, to the light, so we can embrace it and become more human and more divine at the same time, right? All right, so today the topic is about sexually empowered women, and I would like to address five myths about female sexuality. And the reason I chose this topic is not because it is so triggering. Like many people talk about sexuality these days, but I personally find this topic is not being well addressed and well represented in the culture, especially in mainstream culture, and it is always kind of sort of distorted. So there are certain things that I've never heard anybody else sharing. There are certain things that I've never heard anybody is addressing just the same way I want to address. So I have certain, like a different angle of perception, right? So I'm going to share it with you, and I know many of you will respond to that, and it can be really beneficial. So there is I believe actually that what we hear about female sexuality, women's sexuality, it has lots of distortion and false beliefs based, of course, on our past experience on the collective level, how much the feminine was oppressed for thousands of years, and especially like if you look back in time, like it was kind of crude times when women, because the force, like physical force, was dominating, the women were, women are originally are not designed to to fight and be aggressive and like physically strong as much as men. So they were abused physically and sexually because they were, kind of weaker. So that, the feminism kind of brought it up and brought it to the place where, well, we can even physically defend ourselves, right? So understand why these distortions happen, but this is the time to make things clear and bring back to balance and the truth and what is hidden and our hidden potential in sexuality. So let's address those five myths, and they represent our false beliefs about female sexuality, women's sexuality, and how we connect with this force, right? And what is this for us, and how we can benefit from it, and how we can bring it forward, and it's a gift to the world, right? So, and these myths are really down to earth. They're not like out there, somewhere like in different dimensions. They're very real. They're very practical. So number one myth that I see is what is common to believe, especially in mainstream culture, is that women don't need or enjoy sex as much as men, right? Have you heard about that before? Like, I've heard it multiple times, and I was like, that is so weird. You know, I have pretty healthy relationship with my sexuality, and fortunately, I had very healthy life in this sense. So it just, like, for me, it's so, like, it's so, thank you for your hearts. It just sounds so wrong. I was like, why people believe in that? So I started to dig deeper in the subject, and kind of integrating in how to explain where it comes from and how we can shift that, right? So I believe personally that women love sex, and they can enjoy it as much as and even more than men. The reason why I think this belief was developed is because women love different level of sexual experiences. Nikolai. Women like different level of sexual experiences. So if we look in ancient teachings of Tantra, there are 4 levels how you can explore your sexuality, right? And sexual experiences. The first one is just reproductive, and it just comes from our animalistic nature and instincts, right? To produce another, generations. So that is kind of the basics. So it's like crude, instinctive, like it doesn't matter how long it lasts. It's not about even enjoyment. It's about pure release. The second one is more like recreational, right? Just for physical pleasure and enjoyment. And this one is pretty much is dominating right now in our society. So we kind of like moved a little bit forward with this in comparison with the past. When we look in the history, but it's still very, very limited understanding of what we can experience on this plane, right? So it's kind of the casual sex, and this is when we women look at sex this way. Yes, that's kind of a boring thing for us. We don't want this experience, like for us, because we are more connected to our intuition, we're more connected to subtle planes, we're more connected to more subtle senses, and we're more sensitive, and our body designed to experience the most diverse and subtle experiences and go deeper and intensify them. So we crave a different level. So that's one of the reasons why this limiting belief was developed, because what is being offered, what we see right now in the society, the way sex is represented, is pretty shallow and unsatisfying. So I do believe that's one of the reasons, right? So the truth about that, women bring sexuality to a different level. When woman becomes sexually empowered and she discovers her sexuality, she embraces it and she feeds it and nurtures it, this is the spirit. It's a powerful psycho-spiritual force, and she can bring it, if she really explores it and learns how to navigate it, she brings it to a different level. So basically we can open the door to this ancient tantric teachings that were talking about sexuality as a transformational and healing force. So there are 2 other levels, higher levels of exploring our sexuality and having sexual experiences, is the restorative or healing sex, or transformational, right? And transformational healing is about healing our wounds and healing old pain, and on different levels, right? On the body level, emotionally, spiritually. And transformational, basically, it is the experience that we kind of like stepping into unknown. We can move, we can shift our consciousness through these experiences to expand the states of consciousness, basically. Something that people do with psychedelics, something people do with long, dedicated meditations, like the same kind of experience you can achieve and have with the transformational sexuality, transformational sex. And that was part of the tantric teachings, and not many people even aware that it is available, right? When you experience this level of connection and sexual exchange, you don't want to give in to anything smaller, right? You want to keep going and explore, because it's not just one-time experience. It's like the path of exploration and what is available for us. And I do believe women bring it back, and women can explore and develop the tools how to bring it back into our life, and how to heal with the sexual energy, how to connect with the God and the universe, how to receive guidance, how to create manifestation. This is also the energy of abundance, and we can manifest on other levels, not just like physical, but on other levels in other areas in our life with this transformational force. So there is this potential, this kind of potential is available for us. So this is one myth, number one, and how I open it up, and what is possible instead. The second myth about female sexuality, oh Jeffrey, hello, is that if a woman loves sex, she is still, in many cultures, in many societies, she still is being considered like a slut, or like a cheap woman who is not worthy of love. So there is this separation of two roles. Like there is this good wife, good girl, good mother role, and it's completely incompatible, and with the role of like sexually empowered woman, and woman who loves sex and who is good with that, the great lover, like seductress, so these roles are extremely separated. So if many times women feel like, oh, I have to choose one or another, right? And it's a kind of like a crack in our consciousness and our understanding of our wholeness. So we kind of break our wholeness, because we are one. We have all of these levels of existence, of relationship at the same time, but in the society, in the culture, they are separated. So many times woman feels, if she openly talks about sex and sexuality, if she embraces and honors her sexuality and explores it in more like kind of like not hidden way, then she will be judged and punished and misunderstood and all kind of this kind of stuff, right? So, and that's also, of course, it has this historical roots, how everything worked before. But this is the time now to bring this balance back and bring the truth back and embrace ourselves. When we know ourselves on this level, like we're not affected by these judgments anymore, right? Vice versa, if we embrace and honor and respect ourselves and know how powerful we are in this area of our life and embrace our sexuality, like nobody can affect us. It's the opposite. If we can affect others and be a role model of how it feels to be a whole being, a woman who integrated all levels of her being, of her nature, right, and of her power. So number 3 myth sex is all about pleasing a man. Hey Jeffrey, I actually remember the conversation that, like about 10 or 15 years ago. I'm gonna mention that. So sex about pleasing a man. Wow, this is such a bullshit. It's a bullshit belief, comes from medieval ages, from the times when the humanity was in a very, very crude, aggressive, like physical level of consciousness, right? So that comes from that time, and it still kind of affects us, right? And some women still live this way and kind of shut themselves down sexually and don't even believe that transformational, mind-blowing sexual experience is available for them. And moreover, they are, like, organically, they are leaders in this area, in this deep level of intimacy, right? So we are changing this belief now. And the reason, I've lost what I want to say. I just lost my thought. So I believe, and it will be connected with another myth that I wanted to share with you today as well. So I feel the reason for that one is because for a very long time in the history of our species, sex was about pleasing a man, because woman was not allowed to have desires, to ask for what she wants sexually, and she was just like in this role of kind of serving the man, serving man, and men like allowed to have many females, not because they're good lovers, or they're good with creating this experience, but because they had that opportunity, because they were physically stronger, so they could get any woman, or like they could also use certain material security and safety, like provide and protect thing, and then that in exchange they just got that sex with a woman. But that was on the very low level, right? It was like this instinctive crude, like reproductive sex basically, or maximum it was recreational. So women didn't receive much from this experience, right? So she felt this way because she didn't feel there is even a chance for her to receive something from sexual experience with men, and men didn't even know how women's body works and how to make her happy, So that was one of the reasons that this limiting belief was developed as well. So now when we see the transformational power of sex, then we understand that we understand that woman is a receiver. Like when I'm talking a lot about it in general in relationship with men, and remembering our receiving power, like we are the receivers, women are the receivers in relationship with men, because if even you look on a biological level, to give life, yes, we multiply and create abundance and life, right? We give birth to our babies, but before that, prior to that, we need to receive that sperm of the man to create that life. So the receiving is prior in our relationship with man. We receive first, and the same comes to the same applies to sexuality, because if we don't receive, we're not motivated to just give and please a man. It kind of becomes, it's not interesting for us, it's not attractive, it becomes mechanical, and because it becomes like this, we disconnect rather than connect. All right. And the myth number 4, and it's still very, very common. It's okay and it's normal for a man to have many sexual experiences with women, even at the same time. You know, men are not judged for that as much as women are judged for that, right? And it's okay for men to have many different sexual experiences in the past, but it's not okay for a woman, right? And when I work with women in my program, relationship program, a feminine empowerment program, I have the whole module about, you know, sacred sexuality and sexually empowered women. And this comes up a lot because women feel like, you know, the less partners they had in their life, the better. Because if you have more, it's like it's something wrong, you know, like something that you feel uncomfortable with, and because the society still judges us for that. However, I personally believe it's total bullshit as well, because I do believe women benefit from their sexual experiences as much as men. They just need different level of sexual experiences. So they're not looking for reproductive or purely casual sex. They are looking for healing and transformational experiences. So if they find partners and have these experiences in their life, like in the past, that's totally beautiful and empowering, and they learn about themselves, and they learn how it's possible to connect, and who they actually love to be with, and how they want to be loved, and how they want to explore their sexuality. And there can be somebody they're more compatible with and somebody they're less compatible. So it's a path of exploration. And I do believe, you know, when young women are in that stage, it's just the same as the young boys. They want to explore and see what is available and understand how their body work, how their emotions work, how they can bring all these pieces together and create something very, very powerful and make you know, a difference in their own life and other people's life. You know, like, this is a very powerful path of exploration, and it is as valid for women as it is valid for men, right? And people have different beliefs about, like, polyamory or like staying with one partner. I'm personally believe having one partner, but I never judge people who, you know, whatever they believe, and if it works for them and they, you know, they don't hurt others, rather they just, you know, the society judges them. I don't believe in that. I do believe that people have the right to explore whatever works for them. So, and the last one I want to address today is that a woman, this is the crazy one, because yeah, I do believe that, but I do believe it is very powerful, and I have so much to share. So, like, I have so much powerful insights. It's just like putting it on one container and like 20 minutes is kind of it's a lot, but I do believe there's so much we can learn about this, and so much we can change about this. So the myth number 5 is that a woman must not have sexual desires and sexual fantasies. It's all like about men. Again, these myths are all interconnected and come from the same, you know, false beliefs that women, you know, and sex is something like incompatible, right? Thank you so much for your likes. And Natasha, привет. And another one is that brings up the situation when a woman starts to date a man, and many women are really afraid to explore sexuality on the early stages of relationships, because they feel like if they like, they might feel it, right? They might feel attracted, they might have that desire, but they start to believe like, oh, if I do that and if I go for that, then a man will not respect me, right? That he will think low of me, you know, he will not commit to me. He will just use me for sex. He will not want to be in serious relationship with me. This is also complete bullshit, ladies, because I know from so many situations when you own your power and when you do what, if you follow your own desires and if you own them and you all honor yourself and you respect yourself, this doesn't matter at all. Your man will be with you no matter what, and he will stay until the end of the life with you if you own that power. Your sexuality, your sexual desires, and your ability to follow them and honor them, right? And honor each other, of course. But it's only multiplies your magic and your power and your attractiveness to man. But you need to own it, right? You need to own it and honor yourself and your desires and go from that place rather than go from the fear, like, oh, if I do it, then, you know, I will be punished somehow. I think it's like kind of genetic memory that comes from our ancestors, because women were terrified, you know, exploring sexuality in such a free way, because, you know, you have so many things that can happen, and then you have to handle them, and many times on your own, right? You can get pregnant, you can, you know, be judged by the society. It's still in many cultures, if you're not married, is like, it's kind of shocking, but still, it's like a stain on a woman, not so much on the man, but on a woman, you know. And all these, you know, heavy energies, heavy judgments, of course they affect us. Of course we feel that way. But we need to transform it inside of ourselves first and own it, and not allow ourselves to go there, but knowing that what we're doing is beforehand for us and for our benefit, and we're honoring ourselves in this. And it is our choice. It's our choice. If we choose to have sex with men, it's our choice, and this comes from our own deeper truth, you know. And that, so if you follow that, then nobody will judge you. You will not be affected, and your man will not run away. He will stay with you. A man also loves great sex. If you empowered in that area, it's huge and beautiful. An attractive thing about you. So that's another big issue that many women do have. And as a summary today, I would like to say that we need to address and face our sexual traumas, right? We need to, it's time, you know, to bring them up to the surface and look at them, bring them to light. It is crucial for us women to commit to our sexual healing, you know, healing those wounds. Sometimes this comes from, you know, very old times. Our ancestors, our female ancestors were abused, you know, like raped and dishonored, you know, like all these things. Hi, Annette, welcome. Happened, and we have to acknowledge that. But it's time to heal that. It's time to embrace our power. This is the best time in the history, the first time when we do have freedom, we do have rights, we do have opportunities to explore our power and integrate this sexuality piece and make it our power, transformational power, versus be our weakness and a place of, you know, of the biggest pain and, you know, like push it down and away. No, we need to heal that, and there is an opportunity to do that. And beforehand, it's being honest with yourself and looking deep inside yourself. If you have any fears, if you have any kind of shame and guilt and whatever is there for you, it is a good time to address it and face it. And there is so much support is available from other women who, you know, who went through that and who did their work and who integrated that empowered, you know, piece who are sexually empowered. So everything is available if you're willing to do the work, and if this is something that triggers you, that's a sign to look deeper, right? And my favorite thing I want to share with you, that I see sexuality as electricity. This is electric force, and this is how we connect, like physics and spirituality and energy, right? It is so intense, just like electricity, and just like electricity, it can serve us or it can kill us. So it's up to us to choose, right? Okay, Natasha. She says that many women develop attachment to a man through sex, and they energetically attach. This is very true, and it doesn't mean that we don't have power over that. Yes, usually for a woman, sexual connection automatically develops the emotional connection. But the emotional connection is not the only plane that we exist, right? We're also spiritual being. So when we see sex as in its full potential, as a transformational, then we know who is the right man for us to be with, and who is the right man to open up in this way and have that sexual experience. So it's up to us. So that's why we need to heal and do this work, because some women do jump into some sexual, connection and have sex with men who are not on the same level of consciousness with them. Energetically, they're not a good match for them. And then, maybe there are different layers of this. It's a very good question, though. It's another topic to discuss, for another hour, maybe. But it's up to us. We have to discern what is right and what is not quite right for us, and be responsible, 100% responsible for our choices. Now, when we're not forced to have sex with whoever wants to have sex with us, we do have that choice, and we need to have integrity about it, right? So it's our responsibility to take care of that piece, and understanding how this emotional attachment works, because it doesn't need to be this codependent energetic attachment to a man that once you had sex with him and then you can get out, and it's a huge topic, and maybe that would be a great one to discuss next time if you guys are interested. But I love that question, and it's very deep and very, very important for many women. Yes, I agree, Saul. Yeah, I can't see everything you say, guys, but I will come back and respond to every comment and every question that you asked. And this is what I wanted to share with you today. This is big, you're welcome to reach out to me. We can continue, I will respond to your comments. You're welcome to bring more up. So we'll have more discussion, and I know people then watch on replay and get engaged with these topics, because they are very, very, everybody is involved, right? So I wish you a great day, a beautiful weekend. If you know, by the way, I always forget this one. If you know any women who, are struggling with this piece, who you believe they can benefit from this. Thank you so much for your heart. So you're such a beautiful soul and beautiful woman. So amazing to have you here. You're welcome to share this video. You're welcome to send as a private message, link to it, because I do want to support as many women as possible. And this one is the most painful, the most traumatic area of our relationship with man, and many wounds between masculine and feminine are related to sexuality, right? Thank you so much. You're amazing. All right, so wish you a great weekend and I talk to you next week. Bye bye.